Ruben Palas of Rappler in the Philippines. Jojo, congratulations on your first feature directing job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and you have worked with an impressive list of filmmakers and actors. Can you cite some of the directors and actors who gave you, either directly or by just observing them, valuable lessons or tools that came in handy on your first few weeks on the set as a first-time film director?
Yeah, well, I was very fortunate because I directed this movie under the banner of 87 North. So Kelly McCormick and David Leach were my producers on it, and I've known David a long time. So I basically just kind of followed him into this directing sphere. So I was very lucky I had both of them to lean into. I talked to David quite a bit all the time, like about the movie, and just watching him over the years and him mentoring me really prepared me for all of this.
And what were your first thoughts when you were offered this opportunity to direct your first feature? What came into your mind right away?
It's a mix of things. Like it's like excitement, kind of you get nervous, you get kind of scared a little bit, but you get it's just a matter of like almost like you pump yourself up to do it. Get ready to do this kind of new challenge. So it was a mix of emotions, but overall excitement.
And speaking of David, you and David go a long way back, almost 30 years ago, when
Yes.
you both studied under at Dan Inosanto's Academy of Martial Arts. So,
Yes.
how inspiring and impactful was Dan Inosanto in your career?
I mean, he's the basis of a lot of stunt people that. There's a certain group of stunt people that came from that era, like when we all trained there, and they all became big stunt coordinators or directors, like David and Chad Stahelski. Those a lot of us came from that group, and I think the thing with Guru or Dan, he really taught us a lot of mixture of martial arts. But at the same time, I think he really taught me a lot of. I take away from him is like having an open mind was the most valuable attribute you can have, and we just kind of I took that and applied it to everything I do.
And this marks Key's first leading man role. And this is your first feature directing work. How did that work out? And if you can also talk about how Key studied martial arts as a kid and also learned action and choreography, so which probably came in handy for him.
It did. I already knew what he can do from knowing his background. So, making the style of movie I wanted to make this homage to kind of the 80s Hong Kong action films. You needed someone that can kind of do it and understood the language. So I was very fortunate, to get Key because, I mean, he can do all of it and he understood of it. So he understood everything because we had a very short shoot schedule. You needed cast members that can do these things fast on the spot and are physically adept.
Your parents are both nurses, and you majored in biology at UC Irvine. But now you're
Yes.
making waves as a Filipino-American director, doing a major Hollywood movie. So can you talk about that and also how you would have followed a typical Asian career trajectory, but instead you became a filmmaker? And how did your parents initially react when you went into movies instead?
Yeah, I think growing up as a Pacific Islander in the U.S., you had to follow a certain thing. I was always taught study hard, put your head down, don't make waves, try to fit in. And I did that my whole life because my parents immigrated from Philippines, from Canada. Then we moved to the East Coast on the U.S. So their whole thing was for me they wanted me to fit in and not get bullied and things like that. So I was always taught to put my head down and just do my best, and your work would show for it. I studied very hard, and because my parents were nurses, I just had a natural affinity for like science and things like that. But I love martial arts. I love movies, and I would film stuff when I was in high school, but never with the intent to be a filmmaker. I just do it because I love watching those movies. So when I graduated, and I still didn't know what I wanted to do, and then I decided, okay, I'm gonna become a stunt person. And then telling my parents that was the hardest part because they couldn't understand. They're like, "You're wasting your education, right?" And so I was like, "No, this is what I'm gonna do," and they weren't very happy about it. But then I got into the union, and I asked my mom, I was like, "Can I borrow money for dues? Right? I'll pay you back." And she was like, "What?" But I did it, and then I got a job right away, and I paid her back. And the rest is history after that. And they are very proud of me now. They're very supportive.
Great story. One of your many credits as a fight coordinator is that you did The Born Legacy, which was filmed mostly in the Philippines.
Yes.
So, what do you remember most from shooting in Manila? And what do you hope of? Do you hope or dream of directing a film set in the
Yeah.
Philippines, maybe, or maybe a film with Filipino characters?
Yeah, you know what? That was the first time I actually visited the Philippines. So my dad, when I was growing up, they're telling me to go, and it's just one of those things. You're stubborn as a kid. I'll go there whenever. What? But when I went there, it was like my father just passed away, so I went there working on that movie, and I got to experience all levels of the Philippines in like the month or 6 weeks I was there, and it meant a lot to me. Being around your people, your culture, and it reminded me a lot of ways of my father. So I'm very proud of being Filipino, and the stunt coordinator there, it made me cry. He was like, we're very proud of you because you made it. You're Filipino in Hollywood, and it really is very heartfelt for me. So I got to experience a lot of Manila or Philippines in that short amount of time, and I really appreciate the culture. I didn't realize I'd love it that much, and I wish I went there when I was younger. Yeah, but it was just an amazing experience going there. So yes, it might be a dream to film something there or do something with Filipino actors or Filipino story. I think that'd be full circle for me.
In your many years as a fight and stunt coordinator and as a stunt person, what were some of the most dangerous or maybe unforgettable fight scenes or stunts that you were part of?
Well, it's hard to say because I'm very proud of all the work I've done. Like you know, it's hard to it's hard to pinpoint everything because each of those projects I worked on, you're putting your heart and soul into it. I'd never walked through something or walked like just kind of did it. I always did it with the intent like this is going to be my last job. So every action sequence I've done, I just put my heart and soul into it. So I can't really pinpoint which is the most dangerous or what I'm really proud of. I'm proud of if I look in hindsight or retrospect, I look at my career, I go, wow, I got to do a lot of different things and work with like the best crews and the best people, and so it makes me very thankful, and it shapes to where I am now.
And Keanu Reeves is one of the actors you work with on several films. So in the Matrix movie and several John Wick films. So many years from now, when you look back at your experience and career, what will you remember most about working with Keanu?
That he's such a gracious and respectful person. Um, when you do movies like that, there's things like you're like, what's the it factor in this person, or why do people root for this person? And I think inherently people can feel when you're genuine and you're honest. And Key has that same attribute. So people want to root for you, and they want to root for you. They want to like you. They get inspired by you. I think those kind of traits it's a natural thing and it comes back. So when I look back, I know they're great performers on screen, but I really just look back and go, these are great people.
And let's talk about Daniel Wu. How exciting was it to collaborate with him because he has extensive experience in martial arts?
Yes.
In how was it? Because you probably speak
Yeah.
the same language.
Yeah.
So how was that in preparing
Well,
and shooting his action scenes?
Yeah, when I had a initial meeting with Daniel, I go, this is knuckle. Same thing. When you meet them if they're the character, and I knew right away. But the thing with Daniel is what I liked about him is he's a very good looking man, like well mannered, but he has an elegance about him. But at the same time, he's dangerous. So I like to do that, subvert expectations, and he just has the ability to kind of convey all those things. At the same time, be charming and elegant, but dangerous, and I like that. So that's why it's like you see him well manicured, the way he's dressed. He's drinking boba. It's like kind of a kid's drink. You're like, what is this? And then he can change it on a dime. And I needed someone that when Key fights at the end, they can keep up with each other, and the audience would go, wow, this guy can beat Marvin, or he has the potential to beat Marvin.
And he just told me that he did all the fight scenes himself. So this also marks Key's first leading man role. So Can you also talk about how Key experienced in martial arts, maybe as a kid, and he also learned action choreography? How did that come in handy for him?
Oh, I mean, again, it's a matter of like learning the shorthand. Like, so we didn't have to teach him anything with the distance and timing, and the style. Since he already kind of trained those things, it was easier to choreograph for him, and it really fits his personality. It fits the character. So all those things kind of rolled into one. It was very helpful, and it shows. It comes out in the movie, and again, I just wanted the people to go to see his physical prowess as a stunt, like as an action actor, also, because we knew he's a great emotional actor already.
And it was also fun to watch Ariana, since she comes from a musical background like Hamilton and West Side
Yeah.
Story. So it's fun to see her in doing action
Yeah.
scenes. So how did her musical background enhance the physicality of her character, Rose?
Fight choreography and dance choreography, in a sense, when you're filming it, is very similar because the movements are the same. It's like finding an A and B side, and you're kind of working together. As opposed to real fighting, you're trying to stop the energy. With this one, you kind of go with the energy. And I knew when her background, I knew already she's gonna be able to do any movement that we pick up, and I think she has very good potential to be like a very good do a lot of action movies. She has that physical presence. She has the athletic ability. I wish I could have, I had more time for her to do more. But she did great in the stuff we had, and I feel like she can be a star of her own action movie.
And back to your parents, if you don't mind, can you tell me their names and where are they from?
Well,
Philippines, if
my
you know?
mom is Delna, came from Visaya, and my dad Ramundo, he came from Manila, and they met in Canada in the like late '60s. Yeah.
And will your mom be watching the movie or
Yes.
maybe attending the
Oh, it's
premiere?
fun. Yeah, my mom's in Missouri, but she called me and she was all excited because I said I got interviewed by the Filipino channel. She was like, "I'm gonna watch it." So it's funny.
And for my last question, what are you working on now and what do you dream of doing next?
Honestly, I'm just trying to enjoy this moment. I got like things that maybe a couple meetings and getting a little couple scripts here and there, but I haven't really decided. I think for me, it's like see how this movie goes, and then if I read something that it really hits me, like registers with me, I'll try to pursue it.
Jojo, we are so proud of you. The
Thank you.
Filipinos are very proud of you and me as a Filipino-American as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
I
very much.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Salamat.
Salam.